Hello everyone, my name is Abdullah. I'm from Elays Network, and Elays Network is an organisation that deals with young people from the ages of 11 to 19, and all our projects, what they do is they empower the young person, they promote self-discovery, and also increase their confidence in their own abilities. So why am I here today? I'm here today to talk about exclusion of young people from secondary mainstream schools. And me and my organisation believe that the ages that these young children are at is the most crucial years of their lives. And it is a time that ultimately shapes their future and how they see it, and exclusion can have a negative impact on that. So I'm here today to pitch to you a project with the aim of intervening on behalf of the child, while at the same time building a relationship with the school and becoming a resource for them. So what is the problem? The first thing is the rate of exclusion. Wandsworth, in between 2009 and 2010, had the highest number of exclusion rates in the whole of London. And exclusion, what it does is, when a child is excluded for behavioural problems, what happens is it results in less attention to the child's education. This is because of their behavioural problems, they're less likely to get into a good school, because the other schools know about their history. And what happens then, it results in a lack of motivation in the child's education on behalf of the child. And also, exclusion does not solve the problem, it just transfers it to somebody else to solve. So, what are the reported reasons for exclusion? There are many reasons that people get excluded, but the problem is, nobody asks why are they excluded. For example, violent and abusive behaviour. A real story, a real case, is a girl who was excluded for being abusive and violent towards another student. But nobody asked why. The story was, from year 7 to year 9, the girl was severely bullied. Her parents complained to the teachers about the bullying, and so did she, but nothing was done about it. By the time she got to year 9, she decided she had enough. So what she did to the bully is she flipped the table at a bully and started chasing her with a lunch knife. And she was then excluded, but the bully remained in school. Her actions are not justified, but the problem is, if the school had done something when she was in year 7 and complained about this bullying, she would have remained in school. And she wouldn't have needed to resort to that kind of actions. Another example is provocation. When a child with anger issues is provoked by a staff member or another student. Another real life example is one student who had anger issues because of circumstances outside school was being disruptive in class. The teacher told him, before being disruptive, you're staying in for detention. As usual, what a child does after being told he's staying for detention is argue back. But then what the teacher did is she started to insult the child and say things that a teacher should never say to a student. Knowing that child had anger issues, that child lashed out at that teacher and started being verbally abusive to her until he got kicked out of the classroom. His actions again are not justified, and he thought so too. So he wrote a letter to her apologising and saying, I'm sorry for what I did. But what she did is she read it, scrunched it up and threw it in the bin and said, it's not good enough. It's only half a page, I expect longer. So these are only some examples. So what is our prevention program? Well, our program is a brand new program that's going to be made of individual segments, which we've all done in the past. And what they'll do is they'll tackle issues that need to be tackled in order to reduce exclusions. So the first is boxing lessons. What boxing lessons will do is it will tackle the lack of anger management they have and the lack of respect they have to older people or to their peers. Another thing is mentoring, which will tackle the lack of mentors they have in their life, or the negative perspectives they have of their life. The next thing will be career fairs and networking events. It will tackle the lack of career prospects. It will teach them to dream. It will let them know of the different careers they have out there for them by meeting doctors, writers, creative artists, etc. The next thing will be recreational activities, which will keep them busy from getting into any antisocial behaviours. Drama film production, which will tackle the lack of skill enhancements that they have. So it will teach them, it will increase their confidence, their imagination, their creativity, their ability to work in teams, etc. And maths and English enhancement, maths and English homework clubs, which will tackle the lack of educational enhancements that they have. What's our methodology? Who's eligible? First of all, we would ask the school to identify problem kids, and these kids will be those who are at the verge of exclusion and those who are following on the path of exclusion. And also for kids that feel like they want to be part of the program, and those who have been temporarily excluded but have come back into the school. How many schools will we be working with? First, we will be working with 3 schools of which we have a good long-standing relationship with. And we would work with them for 3 months. And within this 3 months, we hope to work with 20 children, but double it by 40 to 50 at the end of the year. What is the outcome? Our main outcomes are to give the child a second chance, to keep them in school, to increase their confidence, to not let the self-fulfilling prophecy prevail, and to also enhance their academic abilities. Also, our project will mentor them and nurture them through their time of difficulty that they may be facing. What we will try to do is we will try to make them see school as somewhere they can escape to, somewhere where they can prevail and be bright, despite of all the circumstances they have outside school. So where does your money go? Majority of your money will go to running the individual segments of the project. And the smaller amount of it will go to admin, organisation and materials for all the different segments. But full funding breakdown is available on the application. How do we plan on maintaining that fund? First of all, we plan to make the school acknowledge that they need organisations with the resources and the contacts and the passion for helping vulnerable children. Also, we plan to show them that our project will be successful because it tackles the issues that need to be tackled, and also it's cost effective. The reason why it's cost effective is when a child is excluded, they are sent to a PRU, pupil referral unit, and kids with behavioural problems, like I said, don't end up getting a good school. So it costs £15,000 to keep one child in a full PRU placement, compared to £4,000 to maintain a child in mainstream school. However, our project, with an estimate of around £4,000 and above, can keep up to 20 to 30 children in school. That's it, thank you.
So, any questions? I think this one over there, if that's okay.
Thank you very much for your question. First thing I want to talk about is the parents. We know that the parents are the crucial part of this project, and the reason why I didn't go into parents is because of the 6 minutes time limit that I had. But we know that the importance of parents, and we know that with the school's contribution and the parents' contribution, that is the way to get the child fully committed to this program. And in order to carry out this program, when the school decides what children they want to be a part of this program, we would go and speak to the parents on behalf of the school and try and get their support for the project. And the second thing that you talked about was the school. My presentation wasn't trying to make the schools look like the bad guys or try and blame them for anything. But what I was trying to say was we are trying to fill the gap there is between the school and the student. And which, like I said, we're trying to be a resource for them, because there have been cases where some students have been excluded without being given a second chance. There have been cases.
It's all about misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It's not all schools. There's some schools, and that's what we're here for. And as you were saying about what the staff and what kind of experience we have, the staff that are involved we're young people. And Elays Network is just youth-based, other than Mohammed, who's more of a guider. But we, kind of working in Elays, we've kind of talked to young people, boys especially, that kind of are really violent and have negative mind frames. And we've worked with them using creativity and skills to kind of change their mind frame. We've seen that happen. And the reason why we're focusing on exclusion is because exclusion is something that breaks down their morale. So we believe that that's an issue we have. So if a child is excluded, it kind of completely breaks them down. We want to prevent that, and as a youth group of young people that can speak to them and understand them and come from positive mind frames, we want to do that. We're not saying that these were just some examples of misunderstandings.
And also, we've approached schools with this project, like I said, the 3 schools that we have relationships with, and they said that they're willing to implement this kind of program within their school. Yes.
I'm just a little confused. I'm reading your document here. You talk about we hope to engage with 20 children, etc.
Yeah.
So currently you have no children, is that right?
It's a new program.
It's new?
Yeah, it's in its introduction.
We do have young people, but we haven't worked in terms of the topic of exclusion.
Yeah, it's a brand new program.
Yeah, we have, in Elays Network, we have a very vast amount of children that we work with. We do mentoring programs already.
Can I just come in here? I've currently, in the past, I've actually been working with a lot of young people who's been excluded from school. And for this presentation, I've tried to get a couple of young people here, and both of them, they really lack of confidence in coming in front of people. In fact, one of them actually said to me, well, everybody's the same, nobody's going to help me, so I'm not going to bother to come here. So we've got loads of young people who's been excluded. I've spoken to one of the mothers today to ask her if her son who's been excluded could come in, and she said to me, guess what? I've been to one of the schools, secondary school in Wandsworth today, and her daughter, who is sixth form, who's diabetic, has been late from school for a few times. The headmaster or the teacher there was actually telling the mother that he will exclude this daughter if she come back late again. She's only got 2 months left for that course. So we've got loads of young people who's been excluded or in the brink of being excluded. Yeah.
If anyone else has got a question, maybe we should just share it. Has anybody else got a question?
Sorry, what did you say?
Has anyone else got a question? If you'd like to ask a
I just
second.
want to get a few things clear, actually. When children, there's all different kinds of exclusion, isn't there? I mean, some are excluded for a week, some are excluded for a month, and the full exclusion generally is done before a panel of people. So the full exclusion is a very careful thing. And then generally speaking, people who are excluded are then sent, I believe, to another education centre. So my question really is, which kind of student are you dealing with, or is it all of them? And secondly, are you going to liaise with these, I don't know what you call them actually, you call them sin bins or something, but anyhow, these exclusion schools, are you going to work with them, or are you working in opposition to them?
Yeah, we are going to be working with them. We're not working in opposition with them. The whole point is going back to who is going to be part of this program is for kids who, like Mohammed said, who are at the verge of being excluded, and for those who have been excluded temporarily and come back into the school, which the school thinks will benefit from this program.
Yeah, for example, there's some young people, there's permanent exclusion, you definitely understand, and there's other exclusion as well, where they call internal exclusion as well, whereby the mainstream college or school, secondary school will send them to a vocational course or something like that. Sometimes these ones, they do not go in front of panel or something like that. They do it I know one young girl who's been excluded from Bentwood School, if I even just say it, and she was sent to Nightingale and Knackrove. That girl was all over the place. And eventually, she's been in that school from year 7, and the reason that she's been excluded was for one reason. She's been excluded, which is that she's talked too much in the lesson, and then they said that she's got a special need. I didn't actually understand how the school didn't actually understand why she's got a special need from the beginning.
By saying we're not attacking the schools, please understand that we want to help you, because we feel that we've kind of worked with young people. So don't look at it as like an attack. It's just misunderstandings that do happen, and we want to work with you. Okay?